to turn your volume down. There we go.
When it's done.
All right. Welcome to Friday night here at Hellbent Manor. We are in the studio tonight doing a impromptu live stream because there's a lot of stuff going on.
We're a couple hours late. Had some craziness we had to deal with earlier, but that's all right now. We're in the game right now.
All right. So welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. I know that a lot of people got stuff going on. It's Friday night, so people are out. It's been raining and storming really bad here. But we wanted to come on here and go ahead and start talking about what the heck is going on with a lot of this UFO stuff, this UAP stuff. It is coming at a breakneck speed. It is a landslide of information, and it has just been wild. I slept in a little bit today because I worked super late. But Joe, when I called him and I got up, he's just like, "Are you not watching what's happening right now?" So he like downloaded all the information to me and briefed me on everything. Looks like Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are releasing stuff like crazy. We haven't watched the Corbell documentary on Tubi yet, but that's queued up for us. But we wanted to kind of get y'all's thoughts on all of this stuff that has come out today, these images and these videos that are coming out, and more is coming out as we go along. So we'll get started. You want to talk about the Jellyfish UFO?
Yeah, we want to. And it's weird because we had made a community post that talked about some of this, and somebody told us, like, why are you guys getting involved with this? Stick with your core stuff like Dogman and Skinwalkers. And I'm going, when have we ever done anything really with Skinwalker stuff? But I was just like, this is important because, again, like we've talked about, so much of the stuff that is coming out about like the UAP disclosure, UFO disclosure, it applies across the board to pretty much all like manners of weirdness: Bigfoot, Dogman, paranormal, all sorts of high strangeness.
Yeah.
Stuff. Especially the stuff that's happened over the past, I guess, 72 hours it's been released to this point is wild. So where do we want to start at? There's always been like a weird dichotomy in like the UFO field. Okay. You've got your nuts and bolts type stuff, okay? The stuff that flies through the air, lands, creatures get out of it, you know, everything from like what crashed at Roswell to kind of the communion stuff with Whitley Strieber, you know, things like that, the physical craft stuff. And then you've got the flat out just high strangeness stuff that just doesn't seem like it's a spaceship landing on Earth with like occupants, okay? And it's always been kind of hard to reconcile the two of those together as being part of the same phenomenon.
Almost like the separation between the physical and like the spiritual type of realm.
Yes. So what you've seen happen over the last, I don't know, let me see here if I can also magnify this. What you've seen happen over the last little while is they've really been hitting hard on the physical craft aspect of this with Dave Grush.
Yes.
Craft have landed, they've crashed. We've got the parts, we've got whole ships, we've got biologics, basically meaning dead aliens and all that.
And the reverse engineering that is supposedly taking place
over the last like 72 hours. Freaking the high strangeness aspect of it, like, just broke out like nobody's business.
I would like to address something on this chat right now, actually. Simon says, Jeremy Corbell is only in it for the money now. Don't trust him one bit. If people were expected to not pursue a career doing something, these things wouldn't get done. So when he is producing documentaries, he's producing these shows, he's producing all of this stuff, which takes a ton of time, ton of money to do it, to actually get this information out there. It takes a lot to do that. So he does this professionally, and he's a professional at it. That's what doing a job is. That's like if you call a plumber to your house because your water heater went out and you need it fixed. I mean, you need that hot water. Why is this plumber in this for the money? What's wrong with him? He should just be fixing my plumbing for free. What's up with this? He's just in it for the money. So it's important that people can pursue this stuff. And Jeremy Corbell does a phenomenal job at this, along with George now. So that was it.
So the high strangeness aspect of this kicked into like just high gear over the past 72 hours. It has, well, I would do it, but here we go. Sorry, I was
going to see if you want me to do it.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. First thing that came out, as you guys all know, is
gotcha.
That the Jellyfish UAP, and people have been talking about that for a while. It's been hinted at. People have talked about it. Well, bam, it finally came out at this point. It is basically an amorphous blob that seems to have tendrils on it that was caught by thermal imagers in the Middle East. It was not visible to the naked eye. As a matter of fact, in the footage, it flies over top of two people and they don't know it's there at all. You can tell.
Yeah.
It was not visible to night vision. It was not visible to the naked eye.
It's only coming up on this thermal.
Only coming up on thermal. And apparently what's coming out is it was picked up on more than one thermal imager, and it's been picked up more than once. And it just sails without moving. It looks like a freaking... First thing I looked at that when I saw it, I just said, this is an interdimensional like entity. This is something. This is not that whole ultra terrestrial thing, you know, all they're from this planet. That ain't from this planet, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If it was, then there's been some other sort of like life creating event that has caused this. And the person saying that it looks like bird crap on the lens. Well, I mean, there's a reticle to that lens, just like a reticle on like a rifle scope. And if it was a stain, it would stay in direct relation to that reticle as the camera moved. No, it moves across it. Whatever it is, it's another object. And what's weird is watching the instant dismissal of all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That you're even seeing some of it right here because it doesn't conform to what we expect a UAP to look like.
Yeah, it looks like it's totally biological in a way. It doesn't look like a metal craft. It doesn't look like a smooth metal craft is what you would sort of expect when it comes to these UAP sightings. That's what it's been historically. And this is so out of the realm of what has been described before when seeing these craft or whatever they are. This looks like an organic like a creature. I mean, it looks like a Lovecraftian creature.
The picture that you put up in the thumbnail is an enhanced version of it. They basically just magnified it up and sharpened it a little bit. It looks Lovecraftian. That's a perfect example for it.
It looks like a wraith.
There was an image floating around from California back in, I believe, 2009, where somebody at a distance filmed something, and I don't know the particulars on it. I'm still trying to find information on it. Filmed something similar with 3 of those metallic orbs that you're hearing so much about right now. And remember back in February of 2023 when the Chinese spy balloon stuff was going crazy and they were shooting stuff down willy-nilly? They shot something down in Alaska, and that was the one they acted really weird about afterwards. Have you guys recovered it? Oh, well, you know, we can't really get to it. It fell down in like, you know, pretty rough terrain, and they just really slow rolled it until people stopped talking about it and moved on to the next story.
So the most powerful, wealthiest military in the world can't access something that crashed
in their own territory.
In their own territory.
So the original pilot's description was, he goes, I don't know what it was. I don't know how it was staying aloft. I don't know how it was moving like it was moving. It was the size of a small car. It was really weird. And there were things hanging from the bottom of it.
Yeah.
It pretty much describes what you're seeing right there. So
what do they call those things that I think the cryptids of the corn guy was on?
Atmospheric beasts.
Yes. It's like sky whales and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
would you consider this something that looks like it could be one of these atmospheric beasts? Atmospheric
beasts are usually supposed to be creatures that just... They are born, live, and die in the atmosphere. They never touch land. They don't need to touch land. Okay. It could be, but the way it was moving and the fact that it's only visible on thermal is bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. And just the appearance of it, it's just spooky as hell is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't, and it's weird because it doesn't really move that much while it's flying. It almost looks like it's on a zip line. Okay. Almost looks like it's on a zip line. And I'm looking at it, and I was talking to somebody in our Discord, and they were like, well, I don't think it's real because of the way it moves. And I'm like, well, listen, here's the deal. This might be a fourth or fifth dimensional creature that's entering third dimensional reality, and that's all you're seeing of it. Maybe that's what it looks like, you know? And again, here's the other thing too. Yeah, it's moving weird. It's by definition alien. It's foreign to us. You know what I'm saying? It may be something that isn't from this plane of existence that's there. Okay. The stuff, and so a few Marines came out today that were actually on that base. One has come out, others are talking, but they haven't been identified yet. And they were like, this was the resident ghost story of the base. Everybody was talking about this. Once it showed up, people were sent out to try to find it. They couldn't find it.
They referred to it as the flying spaghetti monster.
Flying spaghetti monster. They didn't refer to it as a jellyfish UAP or a jellyfish UFO. They referred to it as the flying spaghetti monster. So apparently this goes and keeps going over the camp, goes over the water, dives down into the water, stays there for what, 17 minutes? Was that what it was?
Yeah, 17 minutes.
17 minutes, submerged, and then shoots off at like an insane rate of speed and disappears. So it's bizarre. So when I saw that, I just went, okay, they've covered the mechanical craft aspect. Now it's the, all right, guys, here's the flip side of the coin. Here's the other thing that we're dealing with here. If that's a craft, what is that, organic tech? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. They didn't really give any size description of it, so there's no way of knowing what that is. Maybe it's the size of a small car, you know?
And I definitely think the huge difference between what we're seeing with this jellyfish flying spaghetti monster entity, whatever it is, I think one big takeaway from this is it's so different from other craft that has been described over the years that now there's evidence here that we might be dealing with multiple things, that we're not dealing with just another species or another type of creature or being, and it's just one. It turns out that there might be many. There might be like a multitude of types of things that we're dealing with that's coming in and out of our reality.
Here's what's important is that, put that up for me.
What?
The jellyfish one more time. If this is, let's say it's a living creature, it's some sort of organic tech. Let's say it's the three-dimensional shadow of a fourth or fifth dimensional creature. If that's what this is, okay, if this is anything other than some sort of weird, unexplainable, like lens artifact, the whole topic just got a whole hell of a lot weirder, okay? You can take that back down. And if that is flying around in the skies, it can only be seen by thermal, then all of a sudden, all of these other weird things that people are describing seeing on the ground, that people just poo-poo them and go, that's impossible. That's physically impossible. That right there is the damn definition of physically impossible.
Oh, yeah.
That's the definition of physically impossible. That is the definition of otherworldly. That is the definition of supernatural. That is beyond the natural.
And there's something about it that is very unsettling. Like you look at it and it almost strikes this feeling of fear, terror, just uncomfortableness. There's something about it that's in our DNA that when you look at it, it makes us feel unsettled.
Well, let's talk about this though. So if that's possible, you can't tell me that all this other stuff is not possible. Marcus Aurelius, thank you for that, by the way. Marcus Aurelius, out the gate. Imagine what could be out there in light spectrums we aren't even aware of. And I've actually got this handle on my phone, which is what John Keel said, which is something that we take very much to heart.
Yes.
John Keel stuff seems to become more and more relevant the more we learn about this stuff. But John Keel wrote on the 8th tower, if you could peer into this super spectrum, the weirdness that's outside of our clearly fairly narrow vision of what's real, if you could peer into the super spectrum, you would undoubtedly see some frightening things, strange shapes and eerie ghost-like forms moving through the sea of electrical energy like fish in some alien sea. Ugh. And that's the first thing that went to my mind when I saw this. Yeah. Of course, I didn't have the quote memorized, but I went, that damn John Keel quote about the super spectrum. And if you could see into it, because that's basically what this thermal vision is doing. It's
Mhm.
expanding our vision past what we can normally see into what John Keel called the super spectrum. So the two people that thing flew over, they didn't react at all. So does this thing occasionally become visible? Is it always invisible? I mean, they never got into how the fighter jet saw it. You know what I'm saying? That shot whatever shot down in Alaska. Maybe he only saw it on thermal and shot it down. But this is just the absolute definition of high strangeness, and it's government footage of it that got released. They have been trying their best to debunk it.
How old is this footage?
It's from 3 years old, I think. I think it's from 2019, 2020.
Okay.
I guess going on 4 years now. But it's it's the definition of high strangeness. And again, if there's weird stuff like that in the sky that we can't see, that makes the weird stuff on the ground that people only see every so often much, much, much more likely. True?
Yes. Oh,
So,
absolutely. I mean, yes. If it's possible there, it's as above, so below. Of course.
yeah.
It's absolutely possible.
And it's just bizarre. It's weird. It's, what did you title this thing? The New Era?
First images of a new era.
Because that's, for me, that's not an overstatement. It's because past 48, 72 hours, it's almost like one of two things is going to happen. We're going to enter a new era with this, or people are going to start ending up dead.
Yeah.
And it's going to get shut down because apparently
people have ended up dead over this. And that was part of that congressional briefing that they had today, that Representative Anna Paulina or Paula Anna Luna.
Just say Luna. Just
Luna.
Say Representative Luna. Just say Luna.
Mix up the two first names. Representative Luna, she actually said that that was something they were concerned about Grush's testimony, that he said that people were threatened, harmed, and even killed over this information, whether it be disclosing this information, whistleblowing, or whether it be just having this information. And that's something that they're looking into. And it looks like that has happened. And they saw evidence of that kind of cover up going on from the Pentagon.
Yeah.
So that is totally already happened, probably ramping up a little bit more. But I think the toothpaste is out of the tube at this point. I mean, with Grush and then.
You're still going.
Okay. My monitor just went out. With Grush and are we still going?
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, my monitor just went out completely.
All right, so we'll keep running for a few minutes. We're not doing this long.
Okay.
But,
I have a bunch of stuff starred.
That's fine. I got it through here. So
cool.
You're still powered on. So weird stuff always happens when you talk about this stuff.
It does. And I'm talking about Congress and the Pentagon. I think it's because I said the Pentagon.
So
we need to call the Pentagon another shape, like the quadrilateral.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's so here's another one. Moondog Davis is going government lies. Somebody was telling me that they only trot this stuff out when they're trying to cover stuff up. And I went,
oh, as a distraction method.
I no longer believe that.
Yeah.
And here's why. Because it's a piss poor distraction to most people out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a few news chains covering this. There's only a few people going over it. Every time it comes out, the freaking debunking machine kicks into high gear at this point. So it is, if they're doing this as a distraction, it's the worst job possible by the most effective propaganda machine mankind's ever known.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's possible. I don't think that's the case anymore. It's starting to look like, and what's crazy is everybody's so pre-programmed to think that, because we've been messed with so much by the powers that be to not trust anything at this point. And maybe that was the end goal, to try to get us to the point
to muddy the waters to the point where
so
nobody trusts anybody, and nobody trusts even what they see with their own eyes at this point.
And hold on, share screen. And so we did that. And then this comes out.
You have to do it.
I'm going to.
My computer monitor just came back on. It's
now the high strangeness is kicked into freaking high gear.
Yeah, my computer monitor just came back on, and it's super messed up.
This is some.
What is happening? Well, it works.
Biblical looking Ezekiel's wheel
Chaos symbol.
Chaos symbol stuff. They're calling it the Chandelier UFO, or Chandelier UAP. Sorry, UAP.
I don't think it looks like a chandelier at all. I would have called it something else. I would have called it like the jacks or
I think they're purposely trying to give it a innocuous name in order to try to soften the blow of what's weird. Because the way this was described is that it's not a craft. They don't know what it is. And they said that the speed and the way it moved was far more disturbing than other UAPs that people have witnessed.
Yeah.
The other UAPs that people have witnessed already move really freaking fast in an extremely strange way, like they defy the laws of physics. So what is it about this? Apparently that's why the video hasn't been released yet, and there's only been a still.
Yes.
So,
because that could be a threat to national security if they release that whole.
So when I see this stuff, this is a step beyond disc-shaped craft, tic-tac-shaped craft, strange lights, pulsing lights, triangles, all the other stuff that you've seen. These two things are like you said, it's Lovecraftian.
Yes.
This is, I look at this and I go, this is interdimensional stuff. This is high strangeness. This is not the nuts and bolts craft. This is not a rocket ship from Alpha Centauri. This is interdimensional weirdness.
Yes.
And you would think that if something had developed on this Earth next to us, it would have a feeling of similarity to it. Now there's like octopus, squids, all sorts of weird creatures under the sea. Who knows, man? Maybe that's a sea creature that has developed, over the course of millions of years to have weird abilities. I don't know. I just can't think of an animal developing on Earth, and then it's only visible during like with heat vision, with thermal vision at that point.
Yeah,
it's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. So
you and I were talking earlier today, and you kind of went over this theory. Did you want to talk about that theory?
I'll go over the theory
about these things and how they're maybe unwilling participants in this whole situation.
So one of the things that I've always kind of struggled with on this is the real quick. Welcome to the channel, Rodney King. Rodney King, long-time watcher, first-time commenter, office from work. Thank you.
Rodney King, I hope you're doing better after
I hope you're
what
doing
happened
better,
in
Rodney.
the 90s.
So one of the things I always kind of struggled with, and I was kind of rolling it over in my head today, and it just kind of clicked, is you've got that dichotomy. You've got that dichotomy of just the weird high strangeness-esque stuff that you've got.
Yes.
Like we just showed, these two things that came out, okay? That does not scream alien spaceship to me. But then you've got the other things that they behave like ships.
Yes.
And they've got occupants and they crash and everything like that. So you're going, all right, so obviously there's more than one phenomena going on here, okay? More than one thing, you would think. But then again, here's the deal. Look at the craft that we produce. If somebody saw a submarine that wasn't from this planet and then saw a helicopter, well, they were made by the same civilization in the same time frame, some of the same materials, same level of technology, okay? But they're both vastly different. They move differently. They operate in different mediums, okay? So maybe it is from the same culture. Maybe,
but they have material similarities. This does not look like these, and the classically described craft have any material similarities.
So here's my thing. The other thing that always bothered me too is, it never really bothered me, but one of the things that come up sometimes, well, they're so advanced they can fly millions of light years just to come to Earth and crash, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got all the way here and then they just crash. They seem to crash a lot, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going, well, that's not a disqualifier for me, because we fly a lot of planes. Planes are pretty advanced. We have plane crashes, drones crash,
Yeah, that for sure.
Yeah. But then I'm like, well, you always hear about the occupants possibly being like androids, biological androids, just made for a purpose, and then they're just thrown away. Okay. That might factor into it as well. But then I saw these things today, and I don't know why it clicked with me that these things they don't look like they're from here, like this realm of existence, this dimension, whatever you want, this reality, whatever you want to call it. That's some weird stuff. That's the definition of high strangeness. Okay. these are like orders of magnitude weirder than like what supposedly happened at Roswell.
Yes.
Some of the other stuff that you hear, even some of the weirder like abduction cases, they're not as weird as what we just saw. Okay. There's bilateral symmetry, eyes, ears, arms, legs, the whole 9 yards. This is flat out like alien.
Yes.
Okay. So
this is like H.R. Giger stuff.
Exactly.
You know?
No, perfect description. Perfect description. So one of the things I thought about was, so it's a thought experiment time. I don't even think you can call it.
Enzo Cyril has a good point here about that. They crash, you know, you were mentioning that they crash. Even an advanced craft can be affected from lighting, pulsed radar, magnetic anomalies, etc. We'd have the same issues with exploring alien
Leave
worlds.
that comment up because that is very, very crucial to what I'm getting ready to say that I thought about. So let's just thought experiment time. So we have these things that look to be flat out interdimensional that don't look like they're ships, and at least the way we think of ships.
Mm-hmm.
For all we know, when I looked at that jellyfish thing, I was like, I'm looking at an entity, not a craft.
Yes.
Okay. This is not a vehicle. This is a singular entity of some sort. And who knows that Chandelier one might be an entity as well. Okay. That's some weird stuff. All right. It might be an entity as well. It might be how we're perceiving this entity,
Mm-hmm.
or the sensor tech that picked it up is perceiving it. That to me looked, if there's anything interdimensional, that's it right there. These two things we saw, that's interdimensional. So I'm going, all right, so let's thought experiment time. Here's planet Earth with our technology, ships, planes, people on bicycles, walking around on foot, the whole 9 yards. All of them occasionally go missing without a trace. Bermuda Triangle, people going missing in the national parks, you know, airport was that MH370, I get it right?
Mm-hmm.
The Indonesian airliner that went missing.
Yeah, and then that video came out and everybody was saying that there were things circling it.
So things like that have gone missing here before. Maybe, just maybe, there's another, and it's either another planet or maybe even another dimension. Maybe it's another world in our universe, in our galaxy, whatever, where some of these physical craft are located at, okay? And they're not flying all the way here through space. They're not even coming through on purpose through like some sort of dimensional veil, okay? Maybe they're occasionally staggering over just like supposedly the ships in the Bermuda Triangle did, okay? And maybe, just maybe, some of them can't operate in our existence, our plane, our world, whatever, like they can on their own. Maybe some of these craft operate off some sort of like free form, like energy stuff, you know, like Tesla wanted to do. And once they're cut off from that, they can't operate and they crash. Okay. So they're 200-300 years more advanced than we are, maybe even more.
Or they've developed on a different timeline.
But they come here, they can't operate. They come through here through no fault of their own, and they crash sometimes.
So they're completely unwilling participants in this crossing over into our world.
Remember the Vargania case where
yes.
the crash, where the ship crashed and then the aliens running around, and from a human perspective, it's lost, it's confused, it doesn't know what's going on.
The three women that see it in that alleyway, they described it as being terrified. I mean, they described it as cowering.
So you're on your home planet doing whatever you do, and then all of a sudden you go through a weird fog and you're on Earth. Your ship malfunctions, you crash, you're having a hard time breathing the air, everything hurts, your technology's not working, these weird people are like coming at you. Now, when the soldier grabbed that creature, he got a weird skin infection and died.
Yes.
We don't know if the same thing happened to that creature by coming in contact with the soldier. Maybe it died as a result of it too.
That maybe just the chemicals in a human sweat is toxic to
completely
these
incompatible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, maybe, just maybe, these interdimensional things like the chandelier, things like the jellyfish, that when they're going back and forth through realities, maybe sometimes they drag other stuff along with them unwillingly. And on the planet, that wherever these mechanical craft come from, there's crashed helicopters, there's ships. Maybe there's their equivalent of a hangar so far.
Your left sock that never came out of the dryer.
Exact 10 millimeter socket, you know.
Your 10 millimeters
socket. So maybe, just maybe, on their home world or wherever they're from, there's a hangar that's got airplanes, boats on ice somewhere. They've got frozen humans. They were going, this is just so weird. look at this technology that they have. They don't use like, I don't know, anti-gravity to move. They've got these weird things that, you know, oscillate the air, and it creates lift, and we've never seen anything like it. This is so bizarre. They're, you know, and it's, look at the way they eat. They're just completely different. They look a little like us, but we just don't know what they are. And maybe, just maybe, that's what's going on here. That's why they crash sometimes, is because they're more advanced than we are, but they're not a million years ahead of us.
Yes.
Okay. And that maybe when they're sucked over here, they're coming here against their will and they just can't operate. Or maybe they come over and they run out of fuel.
Or their technology, they evolved, and maybe their technology evolved with different motivations or different purposes than ours did. A lot of our development is from humanity's problem with constantly going to war with each other. That's how we've developed a lot of this tech, through the necessity of building this tech, you know, through the military and defense budgets. That's how we've been able to advance a lot of this tech that we're talking about. Helicopters, planes, and all this other stuff. A lot of that development has come through the industrial, you know, war machine. Yeah. So maybe if these things are not as warring as human beings tend to be, maybe their technology developed for a different purpose and operates completely different.
And maybe that's why we can shoot them down.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And maybe they can come over, and maybe these mechanical craft can defy the laws of earthly physics for a little while, until they run out of juice, they run out of fuel, or maybe we've got a way to shoot them down at this point. Okay. But that would explain why these craft are more advanced than we are, but they're not so advanced that they're not getting shot down and they're not crashing sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. And it all stems from, they're also unwilling participants in this kind of like weird transdimensional bleed over, just like we are sometimes. Okay.
Yes.
Just like we are sometimes. And maybe it's not just one planet that this is happening with. And when I say planet, it could be another dimension. It could be another planet 10 trillion light years from here, like, you know, 5 or 6 like galaxies over, or whatever. There could be multiple things like that, but it's all caused by these things that we saw over the last 72 hours. Again, just a thought experiment. Hey, heck, maybe there's something else causing this, and both of these things, the jellyfish and then the
chaos star,
and
the chandelier,
they just seem like orders of magnitude weirder.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's what I'm kind of.
I think I'm more comfortable seeing like the pie plate. You know, I would be more comfortable seeing like a pie plate shaped UFO float through the air than this tentacled, spiny, freaky wraith looking thing. I think that is an order of magnitude more frightening than something that you would just consider, oh, this is something that could be built by humanoids. These things could, and you could have some sort of, you could be on the level with something that like that to a degree, right?
Yeah.
But now we're looking at something that looks like a freaking wraith flying through the sky.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that you probably, I mean, there is no commonality there whatsoever.
No,
and it's completely foreign to my mind.
You're
and
looking at it. It's not
like,
symmetrical. It's not, I mean, even an octopus or a squid has symmetry to it. Okay. This looked like, again, H.R. Giger, Lovecraftian, just horror. This looked like something that if you saw it with your naked eye, you always hear about, you know, people losing their sanity when they see these like Lovecraftian horrors. And I'm looking at that going, I could see it with this, you know. But that's what I'm saying is that today, the last couple of days, I've just gone, all right, yeah, there's more than one thing going on here. There's more than one thing going on here. And it is, when you looked at the jellyfish thing, all of a sudden it clicked with me when they've always gone, maybe people can't handle the truth of what's going on out here.
Yeah, because I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know if I can handle the truth right now.
Here's the deal. It's just that everybody's grown up watching like E.T., the extraterrestrial, even Independence Day and stuff like that. You know, everybody's pretty mentally prepared for the cylindrical craft. Aliens get out. They might look like grays. They might not, you know, but basically, you know, 2 arms, 2 legs. Maybe they get a little weird, but, you know, at the same token, they follow the same basic structure that we do. You got a ship with pilots, occupants, travels through the air, lands, the occupants get out. They use tools. Scratch surface, not that much different than we are, you know. But the stuff we've seen over the last 270 hours, that's different than we are.
Yeah.
That is different than we are.
It's a whole other animal.
You were looking at either, again, organic technologies that don't seem to follow the same basic thought process that humanity does. You build a ship, it's got walls, it's got a floor, it's got a ceiling, there's a room, got a chair to sit down. This is just weird. This is, when I saw the Jellyfish UAP, that's the first time I just went, this is alien.
Yes.
This is beyond human.
This is the true definition of the word alien.
This is unknown. This is possibly unfathomable. This is alien. Not little gray guys that talk to you and either probe you or tell you they come in peace. This is alien. This is something that you may not be able to communicate with. There may not be any sort of point of commonality between the two of you to even be able to discuss, even if there's just maybe the concept of language is foreign to them. I don't know. But I'm looking at this just going, all right, this is it. This is the alien stuff. This is why they've hinted that maybe people can't comprehend this. Are they going to come out and go, okay, guys, listen, you want a disclosure? Here it is. There are these things that look like jellyfish, but like demonic jellyfish, and they're here and they're flying around. You can't see them unless you have very specialized thermal imaging equipment, and you can't shoot them down most of the time, because they said that was one of the things about what they saw in the Middle East. They had a hard time getting a weapons lock on it. Okay, so, and if I remember correctly, I can't, some of those Chinese spy balloons, I know the first one they took down with a missile, because they were talking about how we had wasted a $80,000 missile on a $200 balloon.
Yeah.
A couple of them, they talked about how they took them down with guns, if I remember correctly. I'm not positive. Like the cannon, the onboard cannon. I think that's it.
Okay.
Somebody could correct me on that if I'm wrong.
Well, we also had people in South Carolina shooting at them from the backyard.
That was awesome. When it came over us, they had to put out when that one Chinese, the one that was a Chinese spy balloon, came over South Carolina. It made it all across the country, no problems. It gets to South Carolina, they got to come on the news and tell people to stop shooting at it with their deer rifles, because the bullets were not going to be able to go up high enough, and you were causing a danger to others. So proud of my state at that moment. So proud. But they just, I don't know. And I think that this, if this doesn't get squashed, and after today, it's gonna be a lot more difficult to squash it.
Yeah.
Some of the House of Representatives had a closed door hearing with the Inspector General of the intelligence community, and some of them came out visibly shaken. Others came out going, we need to pay attention. Luna had said we need to pay close attention to what David Grush says and the words he's using. He's not saying extraterrestrial, he's saying interdimensional, and we need to pay attention to that.
Something that we go, so finish your thought.
No, go ahead.
Something that we were watching some of those news stories about that congressional briefing. And one thing that just kind of rocked me back on my heels about that is Representative Tim Burchett from Tennessee. He's generating a list of witnesses he wants to call before the panel and ask them some questions about where are these craft? What are you doing with them? What has all this money been spent on? What do we know? Are we in danger? All of that stuff. He's got a list of witnesses that he's got to call forward for the panel. And he's not going to release that preliminary list because he's afraid that the Pentagon
will silence them,
will get to them before they're able to be brought forward to testify.
Well, you know who they do want to get to come testify? Bob Lazar.
Yes.
Luna said she wanted to get Bob Lazar to testify before Congress. And I'm like,
Bob.
I was like, what was said today that all of a sudden made people start taking Bob Lazar seriously? What was said today? Because quite honestly, Bob Lazar has never been part of the conversation, at least as far as like this House of Representatives, inquiry that's been going into the topic. Nobody's ever mentioned Bob Lazar. And now all of a sudden it's like, we need to get Bob Lazar here to testify in front of Congress. Now that's weird, because here's the other thing too, is that up till now, Bob Lazar has just shared anecdotal stories, just told some stuff. If he testifies in front of Congress, he's under oath at that point. So
he's such a strange man.
Yeah.
I would pay to see his testimony before Congress.
So Grace W. had said, I'm wondering how these things have been hanging around the whole time and we're just now lately been able to see it. Are they just now able to penetrate the veil? I think they've always been able to penetrate the veil. And here's the deal. They might come from somewhere else, but there might be a permanent presence on Earth right now. You know what I'm saying? They might just be here all the time. They might have originated from somewhere else, or who knows, man? Maybe they originated here, and maybe our world's a lot weirder than what we anticipated. But I think they've been here, and that only occasionally we've been able to get glimpses of them.
Yes.
But now we're starting to develop technology that can hone in on them.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay? And what the flock had mentioned earlier, have you heard about the red night vision the military used in Vietnam? That was making the rounds about a week ago. People were coming forward. They've been saying it for a while, but somebody came forward and in an interview within the past, I think, week or two, talking about how they introduced some experimental red night vision in Vietnam. And when people put it on, they were literally seeing demons that were there that were not there before. And they thought that people were suffering stress-induced hallucinations just from like the weird, like red-tinged vision.
Mm-hmm.
But people were putting them on, they got sucked away really quickly. So I went down the rabbit hole looking into that. I found a thread on a particular forum where people were talking about this. And this guy was going, hey, I'm like a militaria collector. I like stuff from like Vietnam, World War II, just like weird equipment, radio, stuff like that. And he was on a militaria internet forum. And he said, 3 times now, I've seen people bring up their experiences with this red night vision. And these are not conspiracy people. These are like Vietnam and World War II like buffs. They just, you know, they collect the uniforms, the whole 9 yards. 3 times he has seen people start talking about this red night vision and their experience with it. And the threads are just nuked and it's never mentioned again.
Yes.
And then somebody else chimed in going, seen those same threads. I also saw on eBay a few years ago where supposedly one of these red night vision goggles were like put up for sale, really high priced, where we're supposed to work. You won't believe your eyes what you'll see. And he said the friggin' listing, and then the person who put them up, gone, vanished, just like that. So, and again, this is all anecdotal. This could be just people just pulling our legs at this point. But this ties into the same thing, that sometimes you're able to peer into a particular spectrum of light, heat, something like that, and you're seeing stuff that you've never seen before at that point. So Denim Devil goes, I've been aware of today's strangeness for 13 hours. I've been pestering my wife for a .458 Winchester Magnum for 12 hours and 55 minutes. So, and this is interesting. Moondog said all this crap is happening. It's called the quickening. We were talking about that earlier. But this is like a modern...
I talked about that Monday. A little bit I talked about that Monday. Art Bell wrote a book. I think Art Bell started calling it the quickening. Around 1997, things started really ramping up, and it was really noticeable that there was a change in society in general, but there was also huge weather changes. It seems like the jet stream was coming down.
Oh yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that was happening around 1997, and it was really ramping up. And he wrote the book, The Quickening, kind of just documenting all of this stuff and where he thinks it's going. And it seems like we're on a wider timeline. I think he expected it to get way worse before it did. I think it's taken a lot longer to get to the point it is now. But I mean, we couldn't have dreamed of what kind of disclosure and what kind of images we have out right now back then. So this is definitely a huge ramping up of whatever is happening. It's just it's just accelerating at an exponential rate.
Here's what I think is happening. And this is why because most people here are not UFO people. We've got a lot of people that are into Bigfoot, Dogman, weird stuff like this. There's been a thing that's been bandied around for since that New York Times article came out, and it's been called catastrophic disclosure. Okay. And it's not where the president comes out at a podium or like a 4-star general comes out and goes, all right, listen, there are other creatures here, basically tells you that we're not alone. What everybody kind of expects disclosure to be. Catastrophic disclosure is one of a couple of things. Either the phenomenon reveals itself to the point where you can no longer deny it, and the government literally has nothing to do with it. They cannot control the message anymore, okay? Or somebody comes forward with something so pivotal.
You're having my problem today.
Pivotal and important that you can't deny it. Somebody literally comes forward and goes, called you all here today because bam, I got an alien body. Check it out. And it's not that like the ones in Mexico. It's literally an alien body.
The little desiccated alien body.
He's
so cute.
So people are starting to go, are we starting to see catastrophic disclosure one way or the other? Is the phenomenon starting to get so blatant? Or are the people like the rebellion that's taking place in the government that are trying to fight the secret holder, the people that are holding these secrets, Are they starting to get to the point where they're going, we know where these things are, we have the knowledge, we've been trying to work within like national security frameworks. We're no longer capable of doing that. We've just got to let the chips fall where they may, and it's got to come out. I think you're starting to, because there was such a backlash against the people that were coming forward. That's why I don't think it's a distraction to keep you from paying attention to what's going on in politics. I think that it was legit stuff coming out, that the people that hold the secrets then fought back. They got the reins of secrecy now, and the people that are trying to get the secrets out are going, you're not, the genie's not going back in the bottle.
Yes.
No matter what we have to do, we're going to get this out. Some people don't like Jeremy Corbell. Jeremy Corbell's got a really weird gift of getting people to tell him stuff they probably shouldn't, which
that's his opening.
That's his opening.
That's his
and
opening.
He himself is saying right now, I saw a little clip from that Tubi special, and he went, you all don't know the amount of like inside sources I have and potential whistleblowers I'm working with. And he goes, and that's not me bragging. He goes, that's a mother effing threat to those of you that are in power. There's a lot more that's being held back right now because we think you guys could possibly do the right thing. If you don't, we're going to do this. But here's the other thing too. Remember Baghdad Bob in the Iraqi war? The Iraqi spokesman that was talking to the press.
Let's find that.
And
Let me find that.
And he's on the...
I can't type right now.
I got it. So he was on the...
I love that.
The rooftop.
The reason I want you to get that is it's so funny.
He was on the rooftop and there we go, talking to the press. Nothing to see here. Everything's going good. They go, well, we hear that, the coalition forces have entered Baghdad. Nope, not the case at all. Don't know what you're talking about. Everything's okay. There are no coalition forces, in Iraq, let alone in Baghdad. Whole time there's stuff blowing up behind him. Okay, there's literally explosions, and he's just going. He's going. Everything's okay. The allies are in, but nope, they are not. We are still in full control. And meanwhile, just like all hell's breaking loose behind him. That's what you're going to see with the American government at this point. The people that have the secrets are not going to just go, you got us. All right, guys, here's what's going on. It could get to the point where you could have those damn jellyfish creatures coming out of the sky, snatching people off the street, visible in every major American city. And you're still going to have somebody from the Pentagon sitting there going, case of mass hysteria, everything's under control. We think there may be a chemical that is leaked into the water supply across the country. Everything's okay, but just stay indoors. We'll have this all under control.
And then you'll have people being like, what are you, a jellyfish truther?
Yeah, exactly. What sort of conspiracy theories are you listening to? So that's what I think that is going to happen. I don't think after seeing this, we're going to get disclosure. If that's what's flying around in the sky, we're never getting official disclosure. Catastrophic disclosure is what's going to happen.
It has to happen.
It's either going to happen to such a degree that them telling you not to trust your lying eyes is not going to have effect anymore. Or it's going to happen to the point where somebody just goes, I don't care if I go to jail for 20 years. I don't send me to Leavenworth. Here's what's going on. And then what is his name? Congressman Birch says, Burchett, they let the chips fall where they may, and then they commit suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head.
Yeah, man.
So
he's a firecracker, and especially for all of this, he has really taken it. But you need somebody like that to really push this, to get this out. And that's the thing too, is there's a practical side to this too. Oh, I know that alien disclosure, UAP disclosure is practical, but for those naysayers, people who are like, this is all BS, there's billions of dollars or millions of dollars that are spent on these black budgets.
Oh, millions, trillions of dollars are spent on these black budgets.
Where's our tax money going? And they have a responsibility to give us a trail on that.
Those $2,000 toilets are a cover, man. So, but it's I'm kind of speechless. I mean, it's watching this stuff come out is weird, and I'm telling you this right now. Somebody was telling me, oh, it's a distraction from what's going on in government. And I'm going, if CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, NBC, ABC, CBS, all of them were presenting the same message. Folks, there are aliens here, There's government spokesmen up every day. We need to rally the entire country. We need an industrial effort, the likes of which the world has not seen since World War II, you know, you need to only focus. Don't worry about what else is going on anywhere else. You're a traitor to humanity if you focus on anything other than this alien threat. We're not getting that message. There's relatively few news sources doing this. Even the news outlets like New York Times and the Post and all that covered this a little seriously when it came out, are now just basically mocking it the entire time. When they do talk about it, it's kind of a another UFO story for you folks, you know.
Little green men.
Yeah, so it's, I don't think that's the case. And here's the other deal too. You could go, well, it's a subtle, American population ain't big on subtlety, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't say that this is a subtle way for the government to do it, because again, if they're trying that, they're failing abysmally. And these are the best propagandists in the world, man. They know what they're doing. The reason why you can tell they're the best propagandists in the world is look how the American population is responding to what's in their front of their faces. You know what I'm saying? It's right there. Now, again, it could come out that both of these things, there's a prosaic explanation. Okay. If it's bird poop on a lens, then you know what? People have cameras with lenses and they've got birds that poop. Replicate this. Okay. Replicate it. You could come out and go, I let this bird shit on this camera and look, I got the exact same thing. Moves the same, does all of that. Okay. Let's see it. That should be fairly easy to reproduce.
Perform the bird shit test now.
I was watching Reddit and it's weird because I'm starting to see value in Reddit. How crazy is that? You have to like,
I told you, you just have to be
bunch of crap.
Judicious about how you look around for stuff.
You have just a bunch of crap. But there was somebody on there talking about the Chandelier UAP going, this is just a lens flare of this is just a flare on the lens from an actual thermal flare that's been shot and da-da-da-da-da. I've operated this piece of equipment, da-da-da-da-da. Brand new user on Reddit. Some dude that's on this like UFO forum goes, I am a verified like F-22 pilot.
Yeah.
Okay. People have vetted me on this forum. I've been on this forum for 10 years or whatever, 5 years. I am vetted, and what you're saying is completely wrong. You're just either you're making stuff up or you're a disinformation agent, but you're coming on here presenting yourself as this qualified person to speak of such things, and what you're saying is blatantly false.
Hello, fellow kids.
Where are you coming from? And people are going, yeah, we're starting to see more of these now. And you saw that with the Miami thing too. And that's what made me just get my eyebrows raised about the Miami thing. The fact that all of these people seem to come out of nowhere going, whoa, this is fake and you're ridiculous for believing it. It might have been fake, but the debunker like tidal wave that happened after that, you know, people that were just.
And it's debunking by decree.
Yeah, you know, it's fake because I said it's fake. So I don't know, man. It's weird. And I'm just saying right now that I think that if it's going in one of two ways, man, either this is going to get shut back down and it's going to enter just, you know, conspiracy theory talk for another 30 or 40 years. And it might very well do that. It might very well be that, you know what, they trot some of these people in and they go, you think you want disclosure, but let me show you what disclosure entails. And they might see it and go, there's no way in hell people need to know this. We need to change our tune.
Yeah. What's great about our chat and our viewers and everything is we have an expert for literally everything. We have somebody we can pull as an expert for anything.
So who do we have here for this?
We have the Bird Poop Authority, What the Flock.
Oh, good Lord. I forgot about that. All right, so
he's a bird man.
It's not bird through, and please don't insert the birds. Thank you. We got a bird guy.
We got a bird guy.
We got
to call our bird guy.
So we'll see what happens with it, man. But again, I'm looking at this and I'm just going, all of you people out there that catch grief from your friends, your relatives, people on social media. Oh, you believe in Bigfoot? Oh, you found him yet? That buffoonery that you have to deal with. Freaking upright wolves and like giant hairy primates are like common, you know, they're mundane compared to this stuff. You know what I'm saying? They're mundane compared to this stuff. And that's the other thing that I'm thinking of too, is maybe they're finally trotting out some of the weirdest stuff ever. So if we can wrap our minds around that, they can go, well, you know, they handled the flying.
Kind of test the waters.
Yeah, they handled the jellyfish and the weird chaos star thing pretty well. Because again, here's the deal. They might know that they're losing control of this. And they might go, we're going to try to guide it as best we can.
Or get out ahead of it.
Get a soft landing, try to guide it as best we can. Because maybe they know something's coming that we don't. Maybe they know that eventually it's going to be impossible. maybe they have been tracking these things ever since they developed the technology, and they're realizing they're becoming more bolder and more visible every year. And they have charted it, and they go, guys, we estimate by 2032, they're going to be flying visible all across the sky. So I don't know, but I'm just looking at this thing and I'm just going, I was thinking that the UAP topic was dead. And then by virtue, public acceptance of all the other weird topics was going to be dead too. Because again, what you guys have got to remember is UAP stuff's the gateway drug now. Now you all of a sudden realize that. You realize that like the flying spaghetti monsters are real. All of a sudden now somebody tells you that they saw a Bigfoot. You're not going to just come down on them like a ton of bricks and tell them that they're lying or they're crazy.
Yeah, okay? You gotta kind of ease into it. But if you want to do any of these chats,
yeah, let's get in here and see what we got.
Rissel was asking, has Joe been doing a good job tonight? He has.
Joe's been doing a damn good job
tonight. Joe has been just wango tangoed all day
long about this stuff, man. I'm telling you. Well, I'm looking at it and I'm going, all right, this is now. Here's the other thing too. We've got to be aware of, and you've got to be aware that this is a possibility. Maybe these two things, there is some sort of really weird prosaic explanation for them. And maybe this is some sort of like counterintelligence thing. And they're going to let people like us get worked up about it. And then they're going to go, oh, you guys got worked up about a lens flare and a piece of debris on a thermal lens. You know what I'm saying? Even though people right now are debunking that and saying that's not true. I just think that more chips are getting on the table and people are starting to play for keeps right now. And you've got what's crazy is I've heard people like they asked Rush about that. They were going, do you ever resent, like, have any, like, you feel sorry about coming forward, any regrets about coming forward and putting yourself in this position? And he goes, absolutely not. I'm not living in the matrix. I want to be in the real world, regardless of what that means. And I'm going, the fact that has been framed just in like our cultural thought process. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's I think we make a Matrix reference every day.
I think we do. And
I think a lot of people do.
I don't particularly care for the movie that much either. When you get
that was my first DVD I ever had.
It was. But, do you know what her first VHS tape was? It was Santa and the Martians, wasn't it? Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Martians was your first VHS tape.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
I remember.
I pay attention. But anyway. Brian L. had on an off-topic comment to make. I just read Martin Grove's second book, and he talks highly of you two. Hope you can get the proof in the LBL. He's sought after for decades. If we ever get any proof in the LBL, more than likely, it is going to be because of Martin Groves.
Yeah.
Because Martin Groves, God, I'm hoping one of these days.
I don't think it's working.
What's wrong?
I guess it is working.
It is working. Okay.
It's having some trouble though. Everybody's like glitching out or something.
We're not going to run too much longer, but
my computer just went.
Your computer
again.
We're going to wrap this up shortly, guys. We just wanted to do a short one.
What's going on?
Every time I was on Kyle's show and we started talking about stuff, he started having computer issues.
Well. So computer issues. You know, another thing that has happened that this is kind of, I guess, funny. I'm sitting here holding this because for some reason the bottom of my mic stand just came
Lord
on.
Almighty, man. The heck?
It's all
cursed, damn it, it's cursed. So
oh god. This is how they keep us from finding out the truth, is they put these little minor inconveniences in our ways, and it drives us crazy.
It's working. We're back on. We're gonna froze up for a minute and came back. But anyway, I just wanted to get this out. I wanted to get that theory out that we talked about, that maybe some of these crashing craft are unwilling participants in this, just like people, planes, and ships that go missing on our world are unwilling participants in this. Okay. I want to get that out there. Maybe just food for thought. I'm interested in what you guys have to think about that.
Yeah.
Roll it around the old noodles and see what you
roll in the noodle.
Roll it with the noodle. Anyway, so we're freezing up. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here in a second.
Yeah.
And then you guys pay careful attention to this stuff. I know some people you're instantly going, don't trust anything that comes out. Not doing it. Maybe just suspend that long enough to get some data and watch the story unfold.
Yeah, let's kind of get a lot of all this information, kind of look at it, assess it, discuss it, and and if it's okay if we kind of change our stance on where we're at with some of this
Absolutely.
stuff,
And you know what? We might look at this and go, but it's okay, man. You're going to get hoaxed every once in a while. You're going to change your mind as you get more data. And right now, the data that we have is like really, really interesting, really, really intriguing. we're gonna wrap it up anyway because we gotta
What's
be
the name of? People asked this earlier. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. What's the name of the Corbell Tubi series?
I don't know. It's from TMZ of all places, and apparently it's like freaking phenomenal. We might have it on while we're gearing up here, so because we got to get out. We're going into the woods this weekend. Not to beat a dead horse, but thank a lot of you guys for the support we got with the craziness that's going on
Today's
right now.
craziness, yeah.
That's all we're gonna say about that. Thank you guys for the support we got. So
And thank you for all the kind words.
Thank you for all the kind words. We are going to try to get a little bit more caught up on a lot of this stuff. And we're going to talk about it Monday night as well. Come with your thinking caps on and come with your theories. And it's okay if you don't believe it. And it's okay if you do believe it. But again, just kind of like process the data as it comes in. And it's okay to change your mind sometimes, man. I might come out Monday and go, well, that was a bunch of bullshit. I can't believe
it was bird poop.
It was bird poop all along.
What the Flock sent us a sample. We tested it.
Yeah. So anyway, we're wrapping up.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you
and
so
you
much.
guys have a great Friday night.
Marcus, thank you for the $9.99, my friend. We greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it.
You guys have a great weekend. Everybody stay safe. I know everybody's either getting dumped on with snow or dumped on with rain. Y'all be careful. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay dry. And we'll see you guys Monday. We're gonna go out to one of our little research areas tomorrow.
You might see a live stream.
We might try to do a
brief live stream if we've got some signal on that one mountaintop. We might try to do a quick live stream for everybody.
But y'all just keep an eye out. Make sure you are still subscribed. You have your notifications on. And before you head out the door, hit that like button. That would be great.
Give a brother a like, would you?
Give a brother a like. It won't hurt you. So, but thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. It's a good Friday night. We had kind of a weird day, so it was nice to kind of get on here and kind of talk.
Well, Grace, thank you for that. Grace in at the last little minute.
Thank you, Grace.
Surprised to see y'all. Sorry we're so late. We'll next time we do this, we'll do a little bit earlier. Yeah, craziness permitting. So,
all right, you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see y'all later, and we will be in touch.
Thanks, guys.